Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. Remember that they are changing my voice. Okay, on the issue of the statues, it's a little bit confusing. Bear with me. The word statue is similar to the word state, like state of mind, and also statutes, right? Rules, what have you. And the ideal warrior, okay, so make it my point number one is the ideal warrior is not a big and strong person. It's so to speak, right? I'm kind of strong. I mean, I'm strong. I'm stronger than most people, but I'm not this huge bodybuilder. So don't let that statue confuse you. That statue you see is not the statue of the ideal warrior. To a certain group of Igbos, who almost certainly had foreign allies, they were arguing that it is. But common sense would tell you that it couldn't be, because he's too big and slow. If you have a sharp knife and a spear, okay, for the same reason the leopard can outmaneuver, the impala that's bigger and slower than it is, okay? So the ideal warrior is someone like me who's tall and fast and strong to a certain point and maneuvers a certain way with a certain lateral movements in the body that is very characteristic of specific types of black people, but I have the pinnacle of it, so no one really has my body shape. Okay, but there's similarities. So point number two is that I'm related to that guy. My father's a big, strong brain surgeon, right? He's not a little brain surgeon, not a gay, big, strong, straight brain surgeon. Okay. Now, my grandfather was a shorter person, right? He married the daughter of the king because he was the most loyal person in his grouping, and it was overkill by how my father came out and how I came out. That made it clear that my grandfather was an extremely loyal subject of the king, that he rewarded for his extreme loyalty by allowing him to marry his daughter, okay, and his other children weren't as loyal to him and to the cause as my grandfather was. This gets tricky now, because it's a spiritual formation. Remember, people used to be something else, right? They used to be early primates, and they evolved into being something else. You don't get the ideal warrior from an early primate, right, overnight. This is something that happened over thousands and thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years, right? Now, what we see is that because of the spiritual formation that had occurred, the heart of my grandfather, the height and the DNA of my grandmother, who's the daughter of a king, who was a very strong, intense guy, it comes together a certain way. My dad is this big and intense guy who wasn't always big, right? He was more like shaped like me when he was younger, but he kind of put on weight a certain way, and his bones are very thick, and it came out a certain way. When he married my mother, who was a white woman, a National Merit Scholar, this brilliant woman, right, and book smart, it came together a certain way where the body structure was now this intense, ferocious Nigerian king being expressed in a body that allows me to move at world record speed. That's part of why it's preposterous to think that Bruce Lee or Jackie Chan or anyone else is faster. Now, their limbs are shorter. They have less of an intense driving force, right? The driving force of God and that intensity that comes with obeying moral precision that inspires the most potent strikes, okay? So when we see the book, The Brothers' War of Biafra versus Nigeria, which is what Tears of the Sun is about, it's about a part of the war, it's like a made-up scenario to some degree, it's based on reality, where a king is being taken out of a country. This is how my father left Nigeria. Okay, in terms of the throne being established in righteousness, Proverbs 16:12, my father had established the throne, for his generation. Then I did for mine, and there will be no throne after me. That's the divine verdict. So as far as the throne being established through flesh, some other people count it in terms of flesh. Just like in the Bible, Christ said, no, you're wrong. Your endless genealogies mean nothing. The flesh means nothing. The spirit is everything. Those who obey the commandments of God are my family, and those who obey the commandments of God and do and perform more fruit, right? The parable of the 10 minas, the bags of gold, are above the other ones. That's what he was saying. And his adversaries, the Jews and whoever else, were going, no, but our genealogy, but I'm related to King David. And they were making some kind of sissy argument. And so it continues today. It's in the tribes of the world, it's in the nations, it's in the religions. They're like genealogy, secret society, and they never grew up, ever. Not for a moment. No offense, but this are the facts. And notice when I say it like this, it's clear. I'm sure all of you know damn well I'm right. But if I beat around the bush, you're like, oh, I'm not quite paying attention. It's not that serious. My brain isn't stimulated. One ear out the other. You see what I'm saying? That's part of why the Lord chooses a warrior. The Lord is a warrior and his king is a warrior because you pay attention to a warrior who's conveying it correctly. That's why they change. Oh, change his voice then. Oh, they'll look to the other oppressor and his token minority crypto Jew children. Right? It's fucking stupid. Their argument is fucking dumb. Dumb. My goodness. Like, what the hell? They put their heads together and that's what they came up with. And you believe them about God. People who think that way. Like, what the hell, right? So we see in the book of Brothers War that these Ebos on the front cover, none of them is gay. Is there a gay guy from the Castro in San Francisco there? No. Hollywood no. Atlanta, no. Tel Aviv, a gay Ethiopian, no. None of them. Not a single noble one of them has a drop of homosexuality in their blood. No offense to the LGBT community, but get your motherfucking facts straight. And I am not gay and I will never be gay. And that's part of why they say, well, Romeo must die then. Now again, I say it that way with a bunch of LGBT people who approve of me saying it that way. Because they know, like I just said, that you need to understand my message. The gay community isn't necessarily any more guilty of sin, the average gay person at least, than anyone else. Other than me, obviously I'm blameless, my parents are blameless. That's not why I didn't say it to bring them down, to bash them. I'm not telling you to go bash them or something. But you need to understand what the fuck is going on. And to realize how serious the situation is. You see in Jeremiah, he said they're false prophets dress the wombs of my people as though it's not serious. So their problem is you think this isn't serious. And they're causing their own people and their friends and family to suffer by preventing me from conveying the message in the way that I naturally would as the top martial artist ever possible. Which is part of the judgments that are brought down. When they crucified Christ, was God like, well, they crucified Christ, they have an excuse? No. He said, that's how you feel? Then your punishment increases. And so it was when they killed Isaiah and Zechariah, son of Berechiah, between I believe it was the temple and the altar or something like this. As Jesus was saying as a character in the story. Bottom line, when they killed John the Baptist and all this, all the people who didn't hear the message to how it should, didn't get a magic pass. Because I am the way, the truth, and the life. And if your fellow citizens suppress me while you believe them about God and their extended network, you're going to fucking hell. Okay, so really quickly, there's a book called The Rising Sun about Biafra, which is basically the region where the Igbos basically dominated during the Nigerian Civil War. The Rising Sun, right? Tears of the sun on the Biafran flag. This is key here, right? Hebrew is an Afro-Asiatic language. The Igbos are the most mighty and spiritual and righteous of the African tribes. I mean, look it up. Look at the history of Igbos. You'll see that. And it comes together a certain way, right? So the Asia can be Middle Asia, Near Asia, it can be Far East Asia, what have you, right? And Afro-Asiatic kind of, when it mixes together, right? This African, God created man in his image in Africa and so on and so forth.